Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about, you've guessed it, the Superman review. So this is going to be a spoiler-free section, and then I'll be talking spoilers because I just have so much I want to say, and so much more I just want to learn about this universe and about just the movie alone. My name is Cameron Kin, so let's get started with the video. So, spoiler-free section. I loved, and I will say I loved this movie. It was super well done. Say that again? It was an amazing movie. I loved it. It was super. And this is coming from a person who was a casual Superman fan. I thought he was always kind of okay, thought his powers were cool, but I've just never really enjoyed sitting down and just truly watching a Superman movie. Like, I remember when I was young, I thought the original Superman movies were kind of boring. Granted, I was a kid, and I struggled to sit through them pretty much. And then we had Man of Steel, which was a different adaptation of Superman. I enjoyed those movies, but oh, like growing up and beginning to learn who Superman is as a character and as a person, I wanted that to be what this movie would embody, and oh my gosh, it does. David Cornsweet does a fantastic job at portraying Superman. He was Superman. There were many moments in this movie where I just thought, man, that's Superman, and that's honestly my Superman. He is as of currently my favorite interpretation of Superman. So I don't know if that's just newness, but I want more of this Superman and more of this DC universe. The characters are awesome. Lois Lane, so good. Oh my goodness. Lex Luthor, I hated Lex Luthor, but I loved him at the same time. He was such a hateable character, and like he was just a villain that was just so fresh to see, and it was awesome. He was just evil for the sake of being evil pretty much, but done so right. He hated Superman so much, and it just worked so well. Oh, the Justice Gang. Let's talk about them for a minute. Nathan Fillion as Guy Gardner was so good, and I want to see more of him. Same with Mr. Terrific. He was a big standout. Just, I want to see more of him, and I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, he has like one of the best fight scenes in the whole movie. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But he was so cool. I loved Mr. Terrific. Hawk Girl was great, but unfortunately, she was the sort of character to be sidelined the most. She didn't have much to do, but I still want to see more of her moving forward because all these characters I'm just super excited to see. Like, they were just truly just fleshed out characters for the most part, and there's still more. There's still more. Like, this is the first DCU movie, and oh boy, like we also have other characters like the engineer in the Daily Planet workers. They were also really good. I loved Jimmy Olsen. He was just such a lovable character. He was like one of my favorite underrated parts of the movie, and he actually served the plot pretty well. And just, I can't say more without getting into spoilers, but overall, he was great. I loved him. I loved the casting for him, and I just loved his part in the movie. I feel like I'm forgetting something. Crypto. Crypto was just also really fun. I loved Crypto. He was just truly just a dog. He looked so good, and just everything with him, like he was in the story enough to where it wasn't like a Disney movie where it's just like, oh, people are watching for the dog pretty much. He wasn't the central focus, and he was in there the parts where he needed to be. And Crypto was great, and I would love to see more of Crypto later on, which I'm 100% sure we will. So, overall, I loved the characters. Action was phenomenal. I loved the camera work behind the flying and just all the big Superman fights with the kaiju and all the other other fight scenes that were going on with like Superman and Ultraman, the Hammer of Baravia, the Engineer. There were so many good fight scenes going on in this film, and just it was such a joy, just a refreshing thing to watch. It was super. It felt super original. It just one of the things I've always struggled with like previous films was understanding impact while characters were in the air, and I felt it for the most part. Like I was just so immersed in it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. They did a good job with the camera work and just everything with the fight choreography and all that. It was fun. The CGI was also spotless. It was really well done. Visually, the movie is super good. It is amazing, actually. So also with that comes the story, and this is where I'm gonna start to begin to segue into spoilers. I will give a big I'll give a big warning for when I'm gonna start spoilers, but right now you're safe. The story was also really good. Superman takes center stage for the most part in this movie, and people were always worried about like the Justice Gang sort of being in the spotlight, like it's Superman and Friends or insert something like that. No, it's pretty much a Superman movie. The Justice Gang did have a part to play in the movie, but they were not the central focus, like at all. And it was just a Superman movie. And when that they handled that pretty well, and seeing Superman just get beat down, just either physically or just by the public eye, like by Lex Luthor trying to ruin his reputation. The hope that just that hope that he had, it just like it was just such a refreshing thing to watch. And just his whole character arc. They do make some changes to the Superman origin story, and I was honestly for it. And if you know what I'm talking about, then you'll know what I mean. But I'm gonna be getting into spoilers for that. So overall, I love the movie. I recommend you check it out. It's a big movie right now, and I just want more. I want to see what is in store for this universe, and I wanted to see any DCU content that they have going forward because I was just so, I was smiling throughout the entire movie. I was blown away. Go check out this movie. It is, if I had to give it a number between 1 and 10, I would probably give it a 9. Some of the negatives I do have for the movie, there are kind of a lot of storylines and subplots in the film, but like I I am someone who does like a lot of subplots pretty much. I like lore dumps. And a lot of the times there are parts to that, and it did leave out some characters and some story beats that might have gotten just pushed back a bit, like Hawk Girl, for example, or one of the things with things that are tied into Superman's origin. It's there's a lot going on in the movie, and it is super fast paced. Like it jumps from point to point, and some of the things they do with it doesn't really give you a lot of room to breathe. But if you're someone who isn't as familiar with DC or the whole DC lore, it's not really forgiving towards casual superhero fans. So that's pretty much my negatives for the movie. And again, I loved the film. It was a great time, and none of the negatives that I've heard people say ruined it for me. I was super overjoyed with it, and I just left wanting more. I might go see the movie again, but maybe. I'll definitely rewatch it at some point, but it's super good. Okay. Now is the time to talk about things I liked in the spoiler area. I don't usually do this, but it's a movie I have found so much to talk about in that I just want to share my thoughts on. And yeah. So you've been warned. This is the spoiler area. So if you have not seen the movie and you don't want spoilers, hop off and you go enjoy the movie for yourself. Truly, it's a great movie. Okay, let's start with the origin. So I've heard it pretty divisive that people are upset that they don't show the origin story because it could connect more to different audiences with this version of Superman. I didn't mind that. I didn't mind that. Superman and was already just established and just well already into his career, like 2 or 3 years in it. I believe it said. The movie opens up like sort of explaining the whole metahuman thing and just how it ties down to Superman and how Superman comes to Earth 30 years ago, and then 3 years ago he announces himself to the world as Superman, and then he loses his first battle 3 minutes ago with the Hammer of Bravia. So, with that, they don't really go into his origin much, and they make some changes that to me was very similar to a Batman type of thing. And and Jor-El and Superman's father and mother, they wanted Superman to make a new Krypton to start it over with Earth. And people were like, okay, that's it. Lex got this information, translated it, and people were like pretty freaked out about it. I thought it was fake at first because like is like tying it into the not showing the origin. You don't know if that's true or not. And when Superman was landing onto Earth, his escape pod got damaged, which damaged the recording. So Superman thought that it meant he thought he was sent to from Krypton to be a light in the earth, pretty much, and just bring hope to people. But instead, his family wanted him to just start a new Krypton and just not really worry about humanity and just take over Earth. And Superman just was so upset by that, and that led him to he decided to go against what his parents want and just went to his Earth parents and Papa Kent just did he had a great part in the movie. He basically said it was in the trailer that his actions and his choices define who he is, and it's not your lineage or your legacy that does that. It's you. And even though your parents may have had different intentions for you, it's your choices. That just led Superman to just be that symbol of hope that people will need, because like in this world kindness is not like it usually is, and it is like Superman stopped a war not for political crap, just because people were going to die and people needed rescued and saved. He was doing it because it was the right thing to do, not because of political gain or a threat, a warning from America. He was not representing anyone but himself. Hope, pretty much, if you know what I mean. So, with that being said, like Superman was just hopeful throughout most of it, and there were like people were doubting him. Lex was just hating on him, and Lex did some pretty crazy things. Like he had a pocket dimension that led to like a whole super prison, and they really quickly breezed by that. And I was like shocked at like how they managed to do that. And it's a different take. It doesn't require deep explanation. Pretty much, it's just, oh, I did this and now I got this. And I personally like that they are going that fantastical with it. It opens the gates for so much more, as as long as they don't go way, way beyond the idea of like where it just becomes so unrealistic. Like, I get this is a comic book like world. I just hope they do it to a point where it makes sense within its own universe, if you know what I'm saying. So, with that being said, that leads to Superman meeting Metamorpho. And Metamorpho was a really cool part of the movie. I really liked him. He I don't really know much about Metamorpho, but Lex Luthor had him in prison, and he was using him to. He was threatening Metamorpho with the safety of his son. It was using him to hurt Superman, and obviously, like a weekend Superman can't really do anything, especially behind like a prison bars, pretty much. And like Lex Luthor like hurt someone Superman cared about. He was a stranger to Superman pretty much, but he took the life of someone like that. He made a joke by that, and like that just shows how evil this version of Lex Luthor is. And it's crazy to me, and like it was really well written, and it hurt to watch. Just seeing the pained look on Superman, just that just shows what kind of hero he is. He's just someone who just truly cares. This Superman is not like the I'm not trying to hate on Zack Snyder's Superman but by like how this version of Superman will like look back at the people who got laser blasted at by the Hammer of Baravia, asking if everyone's okay and no one's hurt. He even goes as far as to save a squirrel, from a giant kaiju. That is just a lovable, dorky thing Superman would do, and that's what makes him just so awesome. He was super relatable, and just he's just so full of just hope and just love for life. Life is so one of the most precious things on this world. So the fact that he would go as far as to save a squirrel against against a giant kaiju that's causing so much property damage and so many potential lives to be harmed. Like that's just Superman. He just does all that extra, and like he's there for the people pretty much, and it was super awesome. And I also really liked how with the kaiju coming in, that introduced the Justice Gang, and just how they are just there to do their jobs. They are superheroes who are paid and sponsored by Lord Tech, and Maxwell Lord is does make a short brief appearance in the movie. He'll be showing up again in Peacemaker season 2. I don't know how big of a role he'll have. It doesn't seem like it's going to be that big, but again, Maxwell Lord owns Lord Tech, and he's the one sponsoring the Justice Gang. He owns the Hall of Justice, and yeah, he's played by Sean Gunn as well, which is pretty cool. I did wish that he had a bit more part in the role to be seen, but they didn't really go into it. But that's okay. I was still really happy with it. Where was I going? I was going all over the place. Yeah, the Justice Gang were just there to do their jobs. Like when Superman's like, we shouldn't try to like kill this kaiju. We should try to like move it somewhere else to study it. Mr. Terrific was like, dude, just we got a job to do. Just forget this. Just let he has his T spears go into its stomach and cause it to explode. Like they were just there for a paycheck, pretty much, and just to save lives, while Superman was just trying to just do what he thought was the right thing to do. Even when his like super friends wouldn't, pretty much. They had a great part in the movie, and they're good friends with Superman, and I want to see more of them pretty much. I don't really have a lot more to say about the Justice Gang, but like Mr. Terrific does serve the story pretty well, and Guy Gardner was just a standout. Like he was funny, and Nathan Fillion just did a good job. And I wanted to see more of Hawk Girl, but they didn't do a lot with her. But I loved the Justice Gang and like everything they had going for them with them, and I definitely want to see more of them eventually down the line. What else is there? There is let's talk about cameos. Okay. Peacemaker had a cameo just talking about hate on Superman, which I thought was crazy. My theater went crazy. I went crazy. I was like, wow, Peacemaker. And obviously, I think that was sort of a tease to go watch season 2, which comes out next month, and I'm super excited for that show. I will try to do weekly reviews of each episode. I'll try to do that. I just it his cameo is short, but short and sweet, pretty much. And let's talk about a cameo that teases the next movie. So, Superman was not really. He was so Krypto is a bad dog, pretty much, and Krypto is just a fun, crazy dog, not a well trained dog, and the movie explains why. Krypto is not Superman's pet. He was dog sitting for his cousin, Kara Zor-El. Supergirl makes an appearance at the very end of the movie. She's obviously she's extremely just messed up. She has like this like party girl persona that like, and Superman like and said like, oh, she goes to Red Sun planets to go get drunk on a and just go crazy on Red Sun drunk benders or whatever. And that teases the next movie pretty much. And just thinking more about it now, like people are probably gonna be like, dude, why is she a party-esque girl or whatever, like a drunk college party girl? Well, if you guys have watched James Gunn's introduction to the DCU, where he introduces it as part of the first chapter, Gods and Monsters, Supergirl is a much more jaded character. She watched everyone on Krypton perish, and right now, like, she just has to be at rock bottom right now. I've never read Woman of Tomorrow, and I would like to. So seeing that she's like that rock bottom, like she's drinking that much, she just has to go on these red sunbenders. That's going to be very interesting to see more of, and just understand the true like feeling of just depression, and just seeing the depression and just the what loss can do to a person to that extent. Like to losing a whole world that you knew, just that damage that she has inside, and just how she just needs to she feels this need to just numb herself that much. It's something I'm very interested in seeing more of. I'm trying to choose my words, not saying like, oh, I'm not trying to say like, oh, I'm excited that Supergirl's was this way. It's definitely a unique, fresh take, and I'm excited to see more of that. Overall, that's really all I have to say about this the first movie of the DCU. So far, the first television show, Creature Commandos and Superman, have been really great. And we have Peacemaker next month, and then we have a whole other year till Supergirl, and then we'll get Clayface. I don't know when Lanterns comes out, but the DCU is just it's starting, and now we just wait for the waves to come in, and we just get a full fleshed out DC universe that we've been wanting for such a long time, and it's a joy. So I'm super excited for that. I encourage you guys to definitely just share what you thought about the Superman movie and just things you might be excited for. Try to keep it spoiler free for the people who have not seen the movie yet. Until then, it's a great movie, and I was just super excited to the point where I felt so sick right before the movie. I had like no patience. I was like, I just want to watch this movie. It was the longest day of my life. It was like one of the longest days I've ever had. So there you go. There's my review of Superman. I hope you guys enjoy. If you guys feel liking the video, please like and subscribe and hit the bell icon, and you'll get notified every time I upload a video. I love movies and I love DC, so you guys take care and have fun, okay?